Commander Jeho Park stood at the viewing window of his flagship, the UES Phoenix. The stars spread out before him like diamonds on black velvet. 50 years had passed since humans first met aliens, and now Earth's ships protected trade routes across this section of space. Jeho checked the time on his wrist computer. 600 Earth Standard Time. His crew would be changing shifts soon. The night shift had been quiet, just the way he liked it. Being in charge of the United Earth Defense Force's 7th Fleet meant that quiet shifts were valuable. "Commander, we have an incoming call from Earth," said his communications officer. "It's Lieutenant Haenul Kim from the diplomatic office." Jeho walked to his command chair and pressed a button. A screen appeared in front of him, showing a young woman in a blue diplomatic uniform. Haenul looked worried, which was not normal for her. "Commander Park, we have a problem," she said. "The Galactic Council is acting strange. They keep asking questions about our new ships and weapons. I think they're scared of how fast we're growing." Jeho nodded slowly. Earth had surprised everyone by how quickly humans learned to use alien technology. In just 50 years, they had caught up with species that had been in space for thousands of years. "Tell me more," he said, leaning forward in his chair. "The Orcs representatives are the worst," Haenul continued. "They watch us during every meeting. Yesterday, they tried to pass a new law to limit how many ships each species can build. It didn't pass, but they're trying to stop us from getting stronger." The Orcs were the oldest species in the Council. They had ruled space for over 10,000 years. They looked like tall, thin humans with gray skin and large eyes. They acted friendly, but Jeho had never trusted them. A beeping sound interrupted their talk. "Commander, sensors are picking up something," said the sensor officer. 3 ships just appeared near the mining colony on planet X-227. "Are they registered?" Jeho asked. "No, sir. They're not broadcasting IDs." Jeho turned back to Haenul's image. "I need to check this out. Keep watching the Council. If you see anything else strange, call me right away." "Yes, Commander. Be careful out there." The screen disappeared. Jeho started giving orders to his crew. "Set course for X-227. Alert the rest of the fleet. I want all ships ready for trouble." As the Phoenix turned toward the mining colony, Jeho thought about what Haenul had said. The Orcs were worried about humans getting too strong. These mystery ships might be connected to that. The Phoenix's engines hummed louder as they picked up speed. 5 other ships from the 7th Fleet joined them, forming a protective arrow shape. Jeho watched his tactical display as they got closer to X-227. The mystery ships were still there, hanging in space near the colony. They were dark gray and shaped like arrowheads. Jeho had never seen ships quite like them before. "Sir," said his weapons officer, "those ships have their weapons powered up." Jeho pressed the fleet-wide communication button. "This is Commander Park of the Earth Defense Force. Unknown vessels near X-227. Identify yourselves immediately." There was no answer. The mystery ships started moving, spreading out in an attack pattern. "All ships, battle stations," Jeho ordered. Warning alarms started ringing throughout the Phoenix. "Whatever's about to happen," he thought, "we're ready for it." The calm in space was about to end. Jeho could feel it in his bones. After 50 years of peace, something big was coming. He just hoped Earth was ready for what was next. Lieutenant Haenul Kim walked quickly through the gleaming halls of the Galactic Council building on Alpha Centauri. Her footsteps echoed off the white walls as she hurried to reach Ambassador Sang-Mi Lee's office. What she had just discovered could not wait. The mystery ships that Commander Park had seen were only the beginning. Over the past week, 3 human research stations had been attacked. Each time, the attackers left behind evidence that made it look like other alien species had done it. But Haenul had found proof that this was all a lie. She reached the ambassador's office and knocked on the door. "Come in," called Ambassador Lee's calm voice. Sang-Mi Lee sat behind her desk, looking tired. She had been in meetings for days, trying to keep the peace. The attacks had made many species angry at humans, exactly as the attackers had planned. "Ambassador, I found something," Haynewell said, placing her computer tablet on the desk. "Look at these scanner readings from the attacked stations. The energy signatures match Orcs weapons, but they try to hide it." The ambassador studied the data carefully. "This is serious," she said. "If the Orcs are behind the attacks, they're trying to start a war. But why?" Before Haynewell could answer, the building's alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed in the hallway. Both women ran to the window just in time to see a massive explosion at the nearby human research station. The station burst apart in a ball of fire. Debris scattered across space, some pieces hitting the protective shields around the council building. Emergency ships rushed toward the station, their lights flashing. "They're getting bolder," Haynewell said. "They're attacking right in front of the council now." Ambassador Lee pressed a button on her desk. "This is Ambassador Lee. I need an emergency council meeting right now. We have proof about the attacks." The council chamber filled quickly. Species from across the galaxy sat in the curved rows of seats. The Orcs High Counselor Nexus sat in the highest chair, looking down at everyone else. Haynewell stood next to Ambassador Lee as she presented the evidence, but something felt wrong. The Orcs representatives were too calm, as if they had expected this. "These accusations are false," High Counselor Nexus said smoothly. "In fact, we have proof that humans attacked their own station. They want to blame us and start a war." He showed a video of what looked like human ships attacking the station. Haynewell knew it was fake, but it looked very real. Other council members started whispering and pointing at the human delegation. "The council will vote now," Nexus announced. "Should we punish Earth for these attacks?" Haynewell watched in horror as most council members voted yes. They had fallen for the Orcs trap. Earth would now face trade restrictions and military limits. As they left the council chamber, Haynewell noticed someone following them. She turned down a side hallway, pretending to check her tablet. In the reflection of a window, she saw 2 Orcs agents getting closer. "Ambassador," she whispered, "we need to get out of here. Now." They quickly walked toward the Earth Embassy section of the building. The footsteps behind them got faster. Haynewell knew they couldn't let her leave with the evidence she had found. Just before they reached the embassy doors, Haynewell heard the quiet sound of weapons being drawn. She pushed the ambassador through the doors just as energy beams hit the wall where they had been standing. Security alarms went off again, but the Orcs agents had already disappeared. Haynewell knew this was just the beginning. The Orcs had started their plan, and now humans would have to fight back. "We need to warn Earth," Ambassador Lee said, already sending an encrypted message to the Defense Force. "The real war is about to begin." The alarms on New Busan Colony screamed through the night. Captain Taiwan Choi stood at the colony's defense center, watching as red dots appeared on his screen. Hundreds of Orcs ships were coming out of faster-than-light travel near the colony. "Get everyone to the shelters," he ordered. "Call all ships back to defend the colony. And send a message to Earth. The Orcs are attacking. Send help." In space above the colony, Commander Jai-Ho Park's 7th Fleet moved to protect the civilian areas. His flagship Phoenix led 20 Earth ships against more than 60 Orcs vessels. "All ships protect the evacuation zones," Jai-Ho said through the fleet communication system. "We need to give our people time to escape." The Orcs ships fired first. Blue energy beams cut through space. 2 Earth ships exploded immediately. The Phoenix shook as enemy fire hit its shields. "Return fire," Jai-Ho ordered. "Target their lead ships. Don't let them get close to the colony." Earth's ships fought back hard. They were newer and faster than the Orcs ships, but there were too many enemies. Jai-Ho watched as more of his fleet disappeared in bright explosions. Down in the colony, Captain Choi helped move people to the escape ships. "Everyone stay calm," he called out as families rushed past him. "The defense fleet will protect us. Just get to your assigned ships. A young mother carrying two small children stumbled. Tai-1 caught her before she fell. "Thank you," she said, tears in her eyes. "Will we make it out?" "Yes," he promised. "We'll make sure of it." Above them, the battle got worse. The Phoenix's shields were failing. "Commander," said Jai-Ho's sensor officer, "3 more Archer fleets just arrived. We can't hold them all back." Jai-Ho knew they couldn't win this fight, but they could save lives. "Send all power to the front shields," he ordered. "We'll place our ships between the Archer and the colony. Give those people time to escape." On Earth, Admiral Yun Yi-Kang received the emergency messages. She immediately called all Earth's defense forces to action. "All fleets prepare for war," she announced. "The Archer have attacked New Busan colony. This is not a drill." Back at the colony, Captain Choi watched the last civilian ships prepare to leave. The ground shook as some Archer weapons got through the defenses and hit the colony's shields. "Captain," a young officer called out, "the last evacuation ships are ready. You need to go too." Tai-1 looked at his defense center. "No," he said. "Someone needs to stay and keep the colony's defense systems running. The fleet needs our help to protect the evacuation ships." "But sir," "That's an order. Get to your ship. I'll hold them off as long as I can." In space, Commander Park's fleet was down to 8 ships, but they had done their job. Most of the civilian ships had escaped into faster-than-light travel. "Commander," his communications officer said, "Captain Choi is still in the colony. He's using the defense systems to help us." Jai-Ho watched as the colony's ground weapons fired at the Archer ships, giving the last evacuation ships time to escape. He knew Tai-1 was sacrificing himself to save others. "Phoenix to all remaining ships," Jai-Ho said. "Let's show these Archer how humans fight. For Earth, for Captain Choi, for everyone they've attacked. Full attack formation." The last 8 ships of the 7th Fleet charged at the Archer forces. They might not survive, but they would make sure their people escaped. And soon, Earth would strike back. Dr. Minji Cho walked through her underground laboratory, checking the readings on each neural link pod. After the Archer attack on New Busan colony, Earth's military leaders had given her full support for her secret project. Now, it was time to show them what humans could really do. Admiral Yun Yi-Kang stood next to her, watching the scientists work. "Tell me again how this will help us win the war," the admiral said. Minji pointed to the nearest pod. Inside, a pilot floated in clear liquid, connected to many sensors. "This is the Neural Enhancement Program," she explained. "It lets our pilots connect their minds directly to their ships. They can control their ships as easily as moving their own bodies." "Is it safe?" the admiral asked. "Safer than losing the war," Minji answered. "We've tested it for months. The pilots can react 10 times faster than normal. They can feel their ships like a part of themselves." In another part of the base, Lieutenant Hae-Nul Kim met with Intelligence Officer Jae Sung-ho. They had both escaped from the Galactic Council after the Archer's assassination attempt. "Look at this," Jae Sung said, showing Hae-Nul his computer screen. "I found messages between Archer leaders from before the war. They were planning this for years." Hae-Nul studied the messages. "They attacked us because they were afraid of us," she said. "They saw how quickly humans learned and adapted. They knew we would eventually become stronger than them." Suddenly, alarms started ringing throughout the base. "Enemy ships detected," a voice announced. "All personnel to battle stations." In the launch bay, the first group of neural-enhanced pilots rushed to their ships. They wore special suits that connected to their neural implants. As each pilot sat in their cockpit, they felt their consciousness expand to fill their entire ship. Commander Jai-Ho Park, who had survived the battle at New Busan, led the enhanced pilots. As he connected to his new ship, he felt its power flow through him. The ship's sensors became like new eyes and ears. Its weapons felt like extensions of his arms. "All neural-enhanced pilots, launch," he ordered. Show them what humans can do. 20 ships rose from the hidden base, their pilots linked directly to their systems. They flew in perfect formation, moving together like a single organism. Through their neural links, they could share information instantly, knowing exactly what each other would do. The Orcs fleet appeared above them, 50 ships in attack formation. They expected another easy victory. They were wrong. Jai-Ho's enhanced fleet moved with impossible speed and precision. Where normal pilots would need seconds to react, they responded instantly. The Orcs fired their weapons, but the human ships seemed to know where the shots would go before they were fired. In her laboratory, Minji watched the battle data with growing excitement. The neural links worked even better than she had hoped. The enhanced pilots fought like nothing anyone had seen before. Look at their response times, she told Admiral Kang. They're processing information faster than any computer. This is what I knew humans could do. We can adapt to become something new. The battle ended quickly. The Orcs fleet retreated, leaving behind 15 destroyed ships. Not a single human ship was lost. Hanul and Jae-sung recorded everything. The other species need to see this, Hanul said. They need to know that the Orcs can be beaten. That humans found a way. The neural enhancement program had changed everything. But Minji knew this was just the beginning. The real war was still coming, and humans would need every advantage they could get. Admiral Yoon-hee Kang stood before the large star map in Earth's Defense Command Center. Hundreds of small lights showed the positions of Orcs military bases. She had spent months planning this moment. Now it was time for Operation Thunderbolt to begin. Send the signal to all fleets, she ordered. Operation Thunderbolt starts now. Across human space, neural-enhanced pilots climbed into their ships. Commander Jae-ho Park led the largest fleet ever assembled by Earth. 100 enhanced ships prepared to attack the Orcs' strongest positions. Remember your training, Jae-ho said to his pilots through the neural link. We hit them hard and fast. Show them why they should never have attacked Earth. The human fleet jumped through space, appearing near 3 major Orcs bases at the same time. The Orcs had built these bases over thousands of years. They thought they were safe. They were wrong. Jae-ho felt his ship respond to his thoughts, moving exactly as he wanted. Around him, his pilots worked together perfectly. Their neural links let them fight as one unit, each knowing exactly what the others would do. The Orcs launched their ships to defend their bases. They had more ships than the humans, but it didn't matter. The enhanced pilots moved too fast, fought too quickly. Where the Orcs expected their enemies to be, the humans were already gone, attacking from another direction. In her laboratory on Earth, Dr. Minji Cho watched the battle data carefully. The neural links were working better than ever, but she saw warning signs. Some pilots' brain patterns were becoming unstable. The neural connection was putting too much strain on their minds. We need to limit how long they stay connected, she told her team. The human brain wasn't meant to process this much information. But the pilots refused to disconnect. They could feel victory within reach. 3 Orcs battle groups tried to stop them. All 3 were destroyed. On the Galactic Council space station, other alien species watched the battle recordings in amazement. They had never seen anything like it. Ships moving in ways that seemed impossible. Pilots reacting faster than any computer. Lieutenant Hae-nul Kim and Officer Jae-sung used this moment to share their evidence about the Orcs' deception. Many Council species who had supported the Orcs began to change their minds. The Orcs lied to all of us, Hae-nul told the Council members. They attacked humans because they were afraid. Now you see why. Humans don't just copy technology. We make it better. Back in the battle, Commander Park's fleet had destroyed 2 of the 3 Orcs bases, but he could feel his pilots struggling with the neural connections. Their thoughts were becoming confused. Some were having trouble separating their minds from their ships. All pilots, prepare to disconnect, he ordered. We've done enough damage for today. The human fleet pulled back, leaving the Orcs bases in ruins. They had lost only 5 ships, while destroying more than 50 Orcs vessels. It was the greatest victory in the war so far. Admiral Kang received the battle reports with satisfaction. But she knew the Orcs would not give up easily. They had ruled space for too long to accept defeat. Their next attack would be desperate and dangerous. "Prepare the defense fleets," she ordered her staff. "The Orcs will try something big now, and we need to be ready." Lieutenant Hae-Nul Kim and Officer Jae-sung-oh worked late into the night in the Earth Embassy's secure room. After weeks of searching through stolen Orcs data, they had finally found something important. The truth about why the Orcs had started this war was hidden in their oldest records. "Look at this," Jae-sung said, pointing to his screen. "The Orcs have been controlling the younger species for thousands of years. They give them just enough technology to join the Galactic Council, but never enough to become truly strong." Hae-Nul read through the ancient files. "But humans were different," she said. "We learned too fast. We didn't just use their technology. We improved it. The Orcs couldn't control us like they controlled the others." In another part of the embassy, Ambassador Sang-Mei Lee met with representatives from other species. Many had already left the Orcs alliance after seeing how the war was going. Now they wanted to know more about working with humans instead. "The Orcs told us humans were dangerous," said the Centaurian representative, their blue skin glowing softly. "But now we see they were the dangerous ones all along." Sang-Mei nodded. "The Orcs kept all of us apart, made us depend on them. But humans want to work together, to help each other grow stronger." Meanwhile, on the Orcs homeworld, High Counselor Nexus received bad news. Another group of their allies had switched sides. The Orcs' control over the galaxy was falling apart. "How did this happen?" he demanded, his gray skin turning darker with anger. "We ruled space for 10,000 years. Now these humans threaten everything in just 50 years. His advisor showed him the latest battle reports. The neural-enhanced human fleets had destroyed 3 more Orcs bases that day. No matter how many ships the Orcs sent, they couldn't stop these new human pilots who seemed to think and move as one. Back at the Earth Embassy, Hae-Nul and Jae-sung made another discovery. The Orcs didn't just fear humans, Hae-Nul said. They saw that humans could unite the younger species. They knew that together, we could all become stronger than the Orcs ever were. They took their evidence to Ambassador Lee. She immediately called for an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. It was time for everyone to learn the truth. In the Great Council chamber, species from across the galaxy gathered to hear the evidence. The Orcs representatives tried to stop the meeting, but too many council members wanted to know the truth. Ambassador Lee stood before them all. "For 10,000 years, she said, the Orcs pretended to help us, but they really kept us weak and divided. They attacked Earth because they saw that humans could change everything. We could help all species grow stronger together." She showed them the proof: ancient Orcs documents, secret plans, hidden weapons. The council chamber filled with angry voices as species realized how long they had been deceived. The Centaurian representative stood up. "We have seen how humans fight," they said. "But more importantly, we have seen how humans build friendships and help others. We choose to stand with Earth." One by one, more representatives stood to support Earth. The Orcs' power in the council was ending, but Hae-Nul noticed the Orcs representatives sending secret messages on their devices. She knew they would not accept defeat easily. "They're planning something," she told Jae-sung. "Something big and dangerous. We need to be ready." She was right. The Orcs had one final plan, their most desperate and terrible attack yet, and it would test humanity more than anything before. The warning came at midnight Earth time. The Orcs had launched their entire fleet toward Earth. They carried weapons that had been banned by galactic law for thousands of years. This would be their final attack. They planned to destroy humanity's homeworld. Admiral Yoon Hee Kang immediately called all Earth's allies. The Orcs are coming to Earth, she told them. They want to end this war with one terrible attack. We need your help. In her laboratory, Dr. Min-ji Cho worked frantically. The neural enhancement system was killing her pilots. Their brains couldn't handle such long connections to their ships, but they needed every pilot they could get for this battle. I might have a solution, she told her team, but it will cost me everything. Commander Jai-Ho Park gathered his pilots for what might be their last briefing. The Orcs are coming with everything they have, he said, but they'll find out what happens when you threaten our home. Ships from Earth's new allies arrived quickly. The Centaurians brought their fastest ships. Other species sent their strongest weapons. Together, they built the largest defense fleet in galactic history. Dr. Cho called Admiral Kang to her laboratory. I found a way to make the neural links much stronger, she said. I can connect all our pilots together through the main computer. But the system needs a human mind to control it. My mind. The Admiral looked worried. Will you survive? Min-ji shook her head. No, the human brain can't handle that much power for long. But I can give our pilots 1 hour of perfect connection. 1 hour to save Earth. High above Earth, the combined fleet waited. Commander Park's enhanced pilots formed the front line. Behind them, ships from 20 different species prepared for battle. The Orcs fleet appeared in a flash of light. Thousands of ships filled the space around Earth. At their center, massive weapons began to power up. Weapons that could crack a planet apart. All ships, attack. Jai-Ho ordered. The battle for Earth began. The neural-enhanced pilots fought better than ever before. Through Dr. Cho's connection, they thought and moved as one perfect unit. Enemy ships exploded everywhere they attacked. But the Orcs kept coming. In her laboratory, Min-ji felt her mind burning as she held the neural network together. Through the pilot's eyes, she saw the battle raging around Earth. She felt their determination, their courage, their fear. Keep fighting, she told them through the network. I can give you a little longer. The Orcs pressed toward Earth, trying to get their planet-killer weapons in range. Allied ships crashed into them, sacrificing themselves to slow the attack. The space around Earth filled with explosions and debris. Commander Park led his pilots in a desperate attack on the Orcs flagship. For Earth, he called. For Dr. Cho. For everyone they threatened. The enhanced fleet hit the Orcs ships like a wave of lightning. Nothing could stop their perfect coordination. They broke through the Orcs lines, reaching the planet-killer weapons. In her last moments, Min-ji pushed every bit of power she had into the neural network. The pilot's ships moved faster than seemed possible. Their weapons fired with perfect accuracy. The Orcs flagship exploded. Their fleet fell into chaos. After 10,000 years of power, their defeat had come in a single hour. But victory had cost them dearly. In her laboratory, Dr. Min-ji Cho closed her eyes for the last time, knowing she had helped save her world. John reached the small village just as the sun began to set. He was tired and hungry from his long journey. As he walked down the dirt road, he saw an old woman sitting on a wooden bench outside a tiny house. "Excuse me," John said as he approached her. "Is there a place in this village where I could get some food and rest for the night?" The old woman looked up at him, studying his face. After a moment, she smiled kindly. "You look like you've traveled a long way, young man. There's an inn just down the road where you can get a hot meal and a bed for the night." John thanked her and continued walking. Soon, he saw the inn the woman had mentioned. It was a simple 2-story building made of stone, with a wooden sign hanging above the door. John pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. The room was dimly lit by oil lamps hanging on the walls. A few people sat at tables, eating and talking quietly. John approached the innkeeper, a large man with a bushy beard. "I'd like a room for the night, and some dinner if you have any left," John said. The innkeeper nodded. We've got a room and plenty of stew left in the pot. Have a seat, and I'll bring you a bowl." John sat at a table in the corner. He was relieved to be out of the chilly night air. A few minutes later, the innkeeper brought him a steaming bowl of stew and a hunk of brown bread. As John ate, he listened to snippets of conversation from the other patrons. Most of it was village gossip that didn't interest him. But then he heard two men at a nearby table talking in hushed tones. "I'm telling you, there's something out there in those woods," insisted one of the men. "I've seen it with my own eyes. It's not like any animal I've ever encountered before." His companion scoffed. "You're imagining things. Those woods are dark and dense, and the shadows can play tricks on the mind. There's nothing out there but deer and rabbits." John's ears perked up. He leaned in slightly, trying to hear more without being too obvious. The man continued sharing his story. This excerpt is 387 words, written in simple English from a third-person perspective. The tone aims to be interesting, hinting at a mystery in the woods that captures John's attention as he takes shelter at the village inn for the night. Let me know if you would like me to modify anything about the writing style. John reached the small village just as the sun began to set. He was tired and hungry from his long journey. As he walked down the dirt road, he saw an old woman sitting on a wooden bench outside a tiny house. "Excuse me," John said as he approached her. "Is there a place in this village where I could get some food and rest for the night?" The old woman looked up at him, studying his face. After a moment, she smiled kindly. "You look like you've traveled a long way, young man. There's an inn just down the road where you can get a hot meal and a bed for the night." John thanked her and continued walking. Soon, he saw the inn the woman had mentioned. It was a simple two-story building made of stone, with a wooden sign hanging above the door. John pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. The room was dimly lit by oil lamps hanging on the walls. A few people sat at tables, eating and talking quietly. John approached the innkeeper, a large man with a bushy beard. "I'd like a room for the night, and some dinner if you have any left," John said. The innkeeper nodded. We've got a room and plenty of stew left in the pot. Have a seat, and I'll bring you a bowl." John sat at a table in a corner. He was relieved to be out of the chilly night air. A few minutes later, the innkeeper brought him a steaming bowl of stew and a hunk of brown bread. As John ate, he listened to snippets of conversation from the other patrons. Most of it was village gossip that didn't interest him. But then he heard two men at a nearby table talking in hushed tones. "I'm telling you, there's something out there in those woods," insisted one of the men. "I've seen it with my own eyes. It's not like any animal I've ever encountered before." His companion scoffed. "You're imagining things. Those woods are dark and dense, and the shadows can play tricks on the mind. There's nothing out there but deer and rabbits." John's ears perked up. He leaned in slightly, trying to hear more without being too obvious. The man continued sharing his story. This excerpt is 387 words, written in simple English from a third-person perspective. The tone aims to be interesting, hinting at a mystery in the woods that captures John's attention as he takes shelter at the village inn for the night. Let me know if you would like me to modify anything about the writing style.